Good afternoon to you. Mark Suttoth, HurricaneTrack here. Tuesday now, the 3rd day of June 2025. Thank you for taking a part of your day to tune in to see what I've got to say. Hopefully I'll teach you something and enlighten you as to what is happening in the tropics. We're keeping an eye on a couple of areas out there. One in the Atlantic, just off the coast of Florida right now. Big messy area of energy. That might try to consolidate over the next few days and become something like what we have here on the thumbnail. I'll explain this as we go forward. And then we have another area in the Eastern Pacific that we need to watch as well. So without further ado, whatever that means, let's get started. Never took French, so I guess it means let's get going. So we shall. First of all, down here in the Eastern Pacific, area off the coast of Mexico has, in the short term, no chance of development, 0. But in the longer term, 60%, and this could go on to develop into our next depression off the coast of Mexico, so we will certainly watch that in the coming days. I'll show it to you on satellite animation in just a moment. Our next area, this is where it's located now in the vicinity of this X, but it's not just a little X. It's all over the place, all kinds of inclement weather all through this region. Again, I'll show you on satellite in a moment. But it's in this region up here that's highlighted in yellow that I'm circling myself. That's where this could come together. Very low chance of it, but of becoming a depression or a subtropical something, whatever. Bottom line is this could bring impacts. And by that I mean more rainy conditions, some squally weather that will impact boating interests, beach weather, people getting out of school, they're wanting to go to the beach. This could increase the rip current threat. So yes, this could be a hazardous weather feature. Hey, maybe I should trademark that. That's a new term. Hazardous weather feature for you to keep an eye on. Even if it's not a named storm, who cares? It's impactful, so we have to watch it, all right? And that's what we do. So there is the web page version. Let's go to the big GIF animation. There it is. I knew I had it in there. This is the area of energy that I'm talking about. A large cluster, disorganized showers and thunderstorms. But conditions could allow this to become a little bit more consolidated somewhere off the coast of the Carolinas as we get towards the end of the week. And just like I mentioned, it could bring, when it does so, more of what we're seeing down there in Florida. In fact, let me jump on here, pull up the old radar scope off the desktop, and let's just scroll down this way. Look, special marine warning in effect without even looking at the radar just yet. Here is the radar out of Miami. That is impactful. If you're down there in the Keys, what a disaster. I mean, that's just, look at all the lightning strikes in there. That's more of what could be coming up the coast in the coming days. And so this is what I talk about when I'm talking about impacts. Small craft, water skis, that certainly, if you're on water skis, that's small craft, jet skis, whatever. You got to be careful with this kind of stuff, even if it's not consolidated. We're all fixated, I understand, on named storms and hurricanes and whatnot. But that, my friends, is a big weather feature, bigger than you, so we do have to watch it. And I'll show you the computer models and what they're thinking about it, right, over the next few days as we go through the rest of the update. In the meantime, we also have this area. What area? There's not much down there now, hence the 0% probability over the next couple of days. This is going to take a while, if it ever even does do anything, and we'll look at that in more detail on the modeling coming up. So what's next? The Vorticity signature. Now this is really neat. I show this on the GFS and other models when I'm talking about development down the road, like forecasting. But this is what it looks like if you were to take a snapshot from a satellite, and that's exactly what this is. It is the relative vorticity product, and this comes from our satellite system, and this is interpreted through algorithms and programming and all that kind of stuff, made into a nice map from the folks at the University of Wisconsin. And all that green and some yellow in there, that's that energy, that vorticity spread out over a large area. We're wanting to see if this bundles itself up. You've heard me talk about it. You're starting to catch on, right? What am I looking for? Well, this is not it just yet. It has a lot of work to do, but still, that's a lot of energy down there. And as I showed you, it's already plaguing South Florida with a lot of very heavy rainfall. Meanwhile, so let's go, jump over to the GFS. This is what it looks like if the computer model interprets it. So there's all that energy right there. A little bit of a bend in some of these height lines in here, so indicative of a little troughing in there, focusing mechanism, if you will. But what does this do over the coming days? Let's move it out into time. The GFS concentrates the energy just a little bit, and more over land, really. A little surface cyclone up there, out over the water it goes. But again, to me this says rain, dreary weather, maybe some onshore flow, slight increase in rip currents, that kind of thing. But you can clearly see, as well as I do, nothing concentrating out of this, and nothing to worry about in terms of a big wind or surge maker. That's not even close. So we don't have to worry about that too much. Moving on out in time even more. Now we're out at 168 hours. That's 1 week. This will be interesting. We're talking about a week out in time. We got that gyre starting to show up there in the GFS. The wind's coming in from the west here, coming in from the east here. You get that sort of yin-yang look to it, right? That's the cyclonic Central American gyre that we talk about often this time of year. Maybe something tries to come of that, but if the pressure pattern is strong enough over here in the Atlantic, and boy, you can see a pretty strong area of high pressure right there. Those are the height lines from it. This would get shoved to the west and stay over Central America and Mexico, or maybe come up through the Bay of Campeche a little bit, or scooch on into the Eastern Pacific. If this is weaker, then yes, we could see a scenario where a piece of energy pinches off over here and makes its way across the Yucatan and into the Gulf later on. Yes, that is a possibility, but it's going to be a while, more than a week out in time. But again, something to watch because it is that time of year. Now let's move this over to the East Pac real quick for you to show you what could be developing over there. Move this out to a week as well. Quicker for development, and then some kind of weird Fujiwara effect going on there. The dance of the vorticity signatures, how about that? The vortmaxes dancing around each other. Finally, at about day 6, it consolidates and then dies away quickly because the water temperatures over here and the thermodynamic profile just not very hospitable for something to sustain itself. How about the old Euro? Now, the Euro is more enthusiastic, taking this energy here and focusing it as we get towards the end of the week. This is the 6Z run, and you can see what it does there, kind of bundles it together. And again, I think this is really cool that it shows those little feeder bands or whatever. So a little coastal low, rain, squally weather, I've said it a few times, all over eastern North Carolina there, Thursday into Friday, coming up from South Carolina before that. I mean, good sleeping weather overnight, right? And then it moves across the Pamlico Sound, opens up into more of a trough there, and then out into the Atlantic it goes. So we'll watch. We'll see. It's important to note because, yes, we do have maritime interest. That's why the National Hurricane Center has tagged this. It's not for their benefit. It's not for padding some score. It is a legitimate area of interest that has a very low probability of development. So we're talking about it, all right? What else? Oh, yeah. That's pretty much it on the tropic stuff. I love the maps. I love pitching them to you guys. I appreciate you buying them. Somebody bought one from Perry, Florida. I'll let that person remain anonymous, just in case they don't want their name out there. But they know who they are. Perry, Florida. Why is that important? I should have crafted up like a picture of a trophy, an AI-generated thing with like a hurricane on there or something. But I didn't want to be too flippant about it. But yes, the folks in Perry have been the hurricane magnet out of the Northeast Gulf these last several years. And hopefully that won't be the case this year. So good luck, you down there in Perry. You know who you are. And hey, look, I really appreciate you buying the map. I really do. It's a nice way to keep the art form going. If you want one yourself, it's poster size. There's proof positive next to my big head. You go over to that link right there. I'll drop it in the description of today's video. And you can order through PayPal. You could use your Venmo. I'll sign it on the back, send it your way, and you can track along on paper. What a concept, right? Just like everybody else who's gotten one. But a sincere thank you to everybody who has purchased one. It means a lot to me. A little piece of artwork that I designed many years ago, and it's great to have one coming your way if you bought one. All right? So we'll keep an eye on all that for you. I don't think much is going to come of it, but something to watch, especially if you've got beach plans. And other than that, we'll just keep waiting to see when something of more significance comes along. Like I said, maybe beyond a week's time as the Central American gyre starts to take shape a little bit more. But between now and then, it's looking pretty darn good, considering we are in hurricane season. All right? That is it from me. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. As always, thanks for tuning in. I am Mark Sudduth. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.